Greetings, music lovers. I'm Roger Bowie. This is a Rap with Roger. Tonight, I'm meeting, yes, 1, 2, 3 of the 5 members of You, Me, Everybody, New Zealand's premier bluegrass band. We've got Laurence, Frankos Rhodes. We've got Nat Talkington. I haven't got your name written down, so I'm forgetting about it. And we've got the newly joined Rob Henderson. Hi, guys. Hey,
How's it going?
why bluegrass? Why not blues or pop, or why not jazz for that matter? Why bluegrass?
I started playing bluegrass at a young age, so it's always sort of been ingrained in sort of the music that I know, and it's become the music that I love. And I think I probably met Nat or Kim first in the bands. We would always sort of be jamming together at music festivals. We'd always sort of be meeting up. So I think I just sort of found everybody else in the band by just playing bluegrass and finding other bluegrass musicians, really. I mean, what do you think, Nat? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think you and I both have the same problem, which is that it's not like we could play something else and have it have the same passion that we have for bluegrass. I got introduced to it by my dad, who when he was growing up in the rural wilds of the north of New Zealand, would time the cattle milking run to be just when Radio New Zealand was playing the one of the 2 bluegrass albums that they had. He didn't know what it was called, but he absolutely loved the music. And he bought a banjo, taught himself, and had it around the house and played it once a year when I was a kid. And I heard it, and from the moment I heard it, I was hooked. And Laurence, it's not like your parents were great bluegrass aficionados and force-fed you bluegrass. That was the music you chose to learn when you were learning the guitar.
Yeah, 100%.
Spoken to both of us. I think poor Rob is the
my background's a little bit different because I do primarily play jazz. I did a jazz degree years and years ago. I've been playing on the Wellington music scene, and I had, I guess, surface level knowledge of bluegrass, but I never really delved into it heavily and hadn't really played much regularly at all until about a year ago, when I got a message from Kim saying, "Hey, you don't know me, but we're desperate for a double bass player because our current double bass player has just moved overseas, James. Would you be keen on taking a risk and coming to a rehearsal and getting to meet us?" And I was like, "Whoa, yep, let's give it a go." And I met these guys, and man, like, it's been awesome. So much fun. So to the extent that I'm starting to like delve into bluegrass music more so than I had done previously with just any surface level stuff, if I can call it that I knew previously.
Source of all. It's the source of all, isn't it?
Sorry, repeat that, sorry?
This is the source of it all.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it is.
Yeah.
You've got to play drums as well, right? Effectively.
In a sense, I mean, we don't have a drummer.
Oh,
so
right.
I'm pretending sometimes in the back of my mind that there's a drummer trying to keep me in time.
Right.
Rob's the kick, and the mandolin player is the snare. So the mandolin player will mute the strings and chunk across it, and it sounds like a snare drum. And so Mando's got the offbeat, and Hendo's got the downbeat on the more trad tunes. We shake it up. You say why bluegrass, but it's not like we're a strict purist bluegrass band. Rob's a jazz player, and that's an asset in this band. It's very definitely not a liability. We all beg, borrow, and steal, chase other genres down dark alleys and rifle their pockets for great ideas and beautiful music. We'll take it no matter where it comes from.
Yeah.
The other way to answer my question is why not bluegrass? Because there's arguably there's not enough of it going on in New Zealand. This is why you guys are so special.
Yeah.
We had the Hamilton County Bluegrass Band for years, and then it kind of went quiet. And then, I mean, if you go to Nashville and you drift into that Americana scene, bluegrass is very much a part of that. So why not?
Yeah, if you've been to, I know you've been to Americana Fest quite a lot, and that's a cross section of the sort of authentic genres of music and the instruments that sound like instruments and aren't trying for the Nashville crossover pop hits that are just, instead they're trying to be themselves and be authentic to the instruments and the song. And there's a huge bluegrass presence and a bluegrass derived presence in that enormous field of music. And yet in this country, we've got a lot of people who want to play the electric side of things, but not so many people who want to play the acoustic. So we like to, hold up the acoustic side of the house. We're doing our work on banjo, on guitar, on mandolin, bass, trying to transmit the sound of those beautiful sound of those instruments with our music.
Yeah, if I could add to that as well, I guess coming from a jazz perspective, it's very easy, I think, for a lot of people to fall into a stereotype when they think of bluegrass as being very simple 3-chord songs. Some awesome stuff in the genre exists as 3-chord songs, but there's also this level of complexity that exists within the music that's evolved over time and has come out in a variety of artists that I think does get overlooked. I'm guilty of that, of overlooking it. And now that I'm delving into it, I'm like, wow, there's some really cool stuff in here. Like the last time we rehearsed, we listened to a particular song by a group called the Punch Brothers called Rye Whiskey. Not Whiskey, Rye. I can't even talk. Rye Whiskey. And we're like, wow, there's some really interesting stuff in here that I wouldn't have really considered or expected to be in there. And for me as a musician, it's really unexpectedly inspiring. Gives me a lot of ideas and, it gives me something else to work on, which as a musician, I really enjoy. So it's a cool opportunity to do that. So to answer your question from my perspective, why not? Because it's such a great genre. There's so much to explore. So get into it.
And the defining feature for me, Laurence, is when you think about bluegrass, it's all about, not all about, but it's very much about picking.
Yeah, 100%.
And so how many hours of practice do you have to do to become the picker that you are? Because that's what stands out when I hear these young guys picking. Just so fabulous.
Well, many years. Yeah, I've been playing since I was I think probably 9 or 10. So I've just had a guitar in my hand since I was quite young. And like I was instantly exposed to bluegrass. Like you mentioned the Hamilton County Bluegrass Band before. Well, one of my first music teachers, she actually took me along to this local bluegrass club, which happened to be run by the Hamilton County Bluegrass Boys. So that was just a very relaxed, very safe environment for learning for me. And I had some big inspirations there who were constantly playing around me, who were jamming around me and sort of helping me with picking and stuff. So I think it's just, you just have to absorb it, really. Like there's no amount of hours that you could do to become good. You just have to be in it. And I think as well, going to music festivals, especially jamming with people like Nat at the Pippi Pickers, that's Nat's other group. He's got they set up a tent there, which is the bluegrass tent, and that's where you want to be. It's the place to be at a music festival. Yeah.
So look, I don't know. For me, it seems like the last time you were seen, certainly the last time I saw you, was 2 years ago, and 2 years ago in Gore. I remember the excitement when somebody mentioned, let's get some bluegrass into the country music capital, and it was very enthusiastically. You were very enthusiastically received. But what's happened in the last 2 years? What is life? Has life got in the way? Well, tell me about it. What's been going on the last 2 years, boys?
Pandemic was a bit of a surprise, and that derailed plans for a tour. And like many bands who had that same experience of taking a run up and then being thwarted at the last minute, that happened to us. And after Gore, the biggest thing that happened to us was this opportunity to be in a Netflix TV show, and that's we've had to sit on that news for an entire year, which I can tell you was not easy. that we were so absolutely chuffed to have been asked and then given the opportunity to be the band in a scene as well as have our music used in the show. So the show is called Sweet Tooth, and it's got like 50, 60 million viewers around the world on Netflix. And we were in episode 4 of season 2, and it just dropped a couple of weeks ago. And on the back of that, we're touring New Zealand and then Australia. So that's been the big stuff.
I know that's the big surprise. That's what's driving and you were stalled. You had this big thing in front of you and you were stalled.
It was incredibly exciting and also frustrating at the same time, because the lead time between recording it and it coming out was pretty much a year.
And it's filmed in New Zealand, is it not?
Yes, it's shot all around New Zealand. One of the stars is a Kiwi as well. And this one, in fact, was shot about 20 minutes from my home. So when they gave the extras the location that they'd have to show up at, I was like, yes, I have one.
Marlon is this current series?
Yes. Yep.
So is this the sort of show you might have expected to have written a song for?
It was Laurence was the songwriter. He didn't have the song in mind for the show.
No,
I
not
found
really.
it and loved it. Tell him about it, Laurence.
Yeah, I actually wrote the song several years ago, and it was recorded on our first EP. I think that was self-titled as well, You, Me, Everybody. And yeah, I never thought that this particular song would land on a Netflix TV show. So it came out of the blue, and I was quite stoked when it did happen though, because I hadn't actually seen the TV show. So when I sat down and watched the first season and I heard the rest of the soundtrack, I was like, right, okay, I understand now why they wanted this song, because it fits the vibe of the entire TV show quite well, I think, and especially the scene. So yeah, there was never any intentions of Netflix, but I'm very glad that it happened anyway.
And what's it doing for you? Is it are you feeling the love, or is it still too soon?
Very definitely feeling the love, both in streams, communication. We've gone through the roof in playlists that were added to in Spotify. People writing in from, I mean, I think my favorite is the couple that said that they lived at the bottom of the Grand Canyon and were listening to our music and our greatest fans, and please would we tour.
That was my next question. This is what it's going to open up for you potentially.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
Go ahead, Laurence. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Nat mentioned before that we've got a New Zealand tour planned and also an Aussie tour, which is going to be coming up. So stay posted for that. But in July, we've got the Globe Theatre, we've got San Fran in July as well, and also Jam Factory in Tauranga, Tuning Fork in Auckland. So we've got some big things coming up, and we're very excited to get back into that.
Yeah, but my question, yes, and I know all about the tour, but I'm thinking about America.
Yeah,
the American invasion.
That's the big one. It's a tough nut to crack because it is so big and so expensive that you really do need quite a following to make that work. So we're watching those numbers. Our goal as a band is to play to new audiences, to bring our music to new people, and Americans would definitely count on that, and we would love to do it. The album was mixed by a professional Nashville musician who engineer, who died recently, but before, as it came out, he was like, let me introduce you to the Folk Alliance, let me introduce you to, and it was all there, and then COVID struck and we could do nothing with the momentum of that album until now. So we're sort of picking ourselves up. We hope America will be a thing. We would love to, absolutely love to.
I definitely think it would be an amazing goal. And none of us would ever turn down the opportunity if it ever presented itself. So let's just hope that the momentum from this song just continues to get us there.
I think it's definitely giving us a clear indication of that the fact that there is like a positive audience out there who would be keen. It's just tapping into that, making ourselves known, which this is helping quite a bit, which is
Well,
great.
definitely Folk Alliance and definitely Americana Fest. I think officially Americana Fest are all closed off for this year, but they still make, I think the entries are all closed, but you guys should be putting your names forward into those arenas, certainly for the coming year, because you'll go down a storm. You'll go down a storm.
Yeah, 100%.
So Rob, new boy on the block, we talked a little bit about that, but and you're not really new, but who's teaching who in this relationship?
I feel they're definitely teaching me at the moment. So I joined, as I said, about a year ago, and we had a couple of rehearsals leading up to Wally Fest, which is a folk fest out the back of Wainuiomata. So that was the first time we'd actually played live, or I'd played live with them. So a lot of it was just getting my head around, and these guys supporting me, what they wanted, and how to sort of contribute to the music. But I kind of feel since then we're making some momentum as a group, and I've got some ideas, and myself and Kim, so she lives out in Upper Hutt, I'm in Wellington. Probably this weekend, by the sounds of things, we're going to meet up and hopefully try and write some new material as well. And so hopefully I can start to contribute as well and give just as much as I've gotten from these guys, if they let me.
And
or maybe they'll just kick me out and say, these songs that you've written are awful, Rob, go away.
We pay you to play the 1 and the 5 on the 1 and the 3, Rob.
That's it.
We would never say that.
are you all writing? Because Laurence, you've been the sort of the main writer. Am I correct, or is it?
Yeah. So I have written a majority of the music. Definitely a majority of the words. Kim probably second. Sam and Nat definitely. They do a decent bit of writing of instrumental pieces as well. But to be honest, when it comes to us as a band, like one of us will present a song, but then by the end of a session, the song will not be the same and it's been reworked. And it's kind of always a group writing session at that point. So it's really just present an idea and the band will write the song at the end of the day.
And you're geographically quite remote. You're not all living in the Wellington area. And so how does that work? Are you online, or do you just make a habit of getting on the road and getting together? How does it work?
Yeah, it's pretty much getting on the road and getting together whenever we can. So it takes a lot of very careful planning. And it's once in every blue moon sort of rehearsal. So I think Nat will probably come down from up north and he'll meet up with us, and then we'll do a mission the rest of the way down to Wellington, frantically practice constantly for about 3 days, and then drive back up north.
Yeah, each in-person session gives us a whole bunch of stuff to work on until the next one. So it's we try to make the most of the time that we have together, which is precious and not as easy to get as we would have loved.
But this momentum you've got may just change things a little bit, though.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be playing a lot more this year than we were last year.
And how many new songs have you got in the pipe? Have you got songs to be presented? Have you got songs you've been working on? Are we going to hear new songs?
We've been working on new material. It's for this tour you'll hear mostly material that was on the albums and some new work. We want to save the surprises for the eventual next album. We don't want to have it come as a absolutely no surprise whatsoever.
You've got to give us a sneak preview sometime, surely.
Oh yeah, there'll be some.
It'll
tasters.
come. It'll come.
Are you still building guitars, Laurence?
Yeah, I am still building guitars. That's kind of it's there. It's always going to be there in the background for sure. But no, I've definitely got a few on the go at the moment. It's kind of secondary to music at this point, but it's definitely something I'm still very passionate about.
Talk a little about that. I don't think many people on this get to hear from a luthier.
Right. Yeah. I guess for me, as a luthier, I think a big advantage that I have is I also play guitar, so I know exactly what I would want in a guitar, which may not be what everybody wants, but then I can also understand. Um, I can translate what they want. So if I'm working with a customer and they want this specific guitar, I think I can probably achieve that goal better than maybe somebody else could. And also I have access to a lot of New Zealand timbers, which a lot of overseas luthiers wouldn't have access to. And yeah, I guess the intersection for me is the music that I play and the instruments that I make, and just combining the two together.
So do you make an instrument bespoke for a particular person, or are you just making them for yourself to be sold to some lucky guitarist?
At this point in time, they're mostly, like you say, bespoke to a person. So I'll be contacted by somebody, and then we'll talk about it. But we'll make some plans, and then I'll make the guitar for them. But on the odd occasion, I have just made a few to sell to the general sort of musician population and music stores and whatnot. And that's something I would like to start doing more as well.
Exciting. Now let's just go back, because I'm getting close to wrapping this up, but let's just go back to the topic we touched upon probably before we went live, and that was how much artificial intelligence is going into your songs. That's a loaded question, but we've already touched on it, folks. But the whole issue about AI and songwriting, let's have a chat.
Well, you're assuming that
questionable.
there's already intelligence in our songwriting.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
How artificial is it?
I don't think we've actually gone near AI yet.
You haven't, Laurence. As somebody who can write music but struggles with the words, I thought, oh, this is bound to be. I'm a computer guy by day, so I thought this will be a godsend for me. But instead, it writes really insipid, derivative pap, because that's what it does. Those machines are just imitation engines. So you say, write me a sad song about death at sea, and it will happily come up with all of the rhymes and the verse chorus structure for you, but none of it will speak to your heart. It will all be very facile and superficial. The art of a songwriter, I feel, is saying something true in a way that's cuts straight to your heart, and that generally requires something a little novel in the phrasing and the structure and what you come up with. The same old doesn't hit you the same way. It's already hit you, and it doesn't have that effect. So I'm unimpressed. I'm a huge fan of the Decemberists and their lead singer Colin Malloy, who writes all their songs.
They're up on my shelf behind me.
Oh, brilliant! You have excellent taste. I knew that already, and now it's confirmed. So Colin Malloy used ChatGPT, one of these AI programs, to generate a Decemberists song. And he said it kind of could have been a Decemberist song, but it was really like somebody who'd only heard of the band and hadn't actually listened to it might say that was a Decemberist song. He even got it to generate the chords, and then he wrote a melody to it and recorded it. And it's
so the good news is
not a challenge to him as a songwriter.
Yeah.
It sounds like all AI is good at is writing pop songs.
Yes.
I kind of feel like there's a sense, it's not a sense of achievement. It's something else. There's a word for it, and I can't figure out what that word is off the top of my head. But a feeling when you've created from inception a song or a tune or a melody, you've put chords to it, or you've had chords and you've put a melody to it, you've fleshed it out into a song or a tune for a band. That band's learned it, they've put their input into it. Then you play it live, and there's that moment where you play it to an audience, and they get up and dance, or they sing along, or they're tapping their toes, or whatever. They're reacting to it. There's that feeling, as I say, of accomplishment or achievement, but it's something more than that. That I love about composing and playing music. And in my mind, I'm like, if I do that, and I tried AI, just saying, write me a song or a love song. I can't in the style of something. I can't remember what I said it in the end, and they pulled something out. I was like, I mean, I know right now that if I took that and tried to apply that to arranging it for a band, whatever band it might be, this band or otherwise, I know deep down inside I would not have that feeling. So no matter how good it gets, I don't think it would tick those boxes that I love about being able to compose and perform.
And the audience wouldn't react the same way. We put so much of ourselves into our songs. Like Laurence's songwriting is him translating real emotions into words. Kim the same. And the situations, they might be imagined. You know, presumably there's you weren't yourself a 1800s highwayman, Laurence, but the emotions, the sensations, the feelings, the passion that comes through in those songs, that's real and that's from you. And those songs that the computer generated had none of that. And I feel like that's what we bring as people to this. Is
a wise man once told me that the most sensitive of all the senses is touch, and so he defined music as touching from a distance.
Ooh.
So what I'm hearing is the good news is that, you know, AI has got a long way to go before it ever gets close to touching us from a distance.
100%.
The worry is that it does get better in that area, but that's for another day. All right, quickly, it's about a wrap. Quickly, very quickly, let's hear from each of you what's life going to be like in You, Me, Everybody in 12 months' time.
Well, clearly, my problem will be keeping the fans off the yacht as we cruise around the Mediterranean from spending all those dollars from the American tour.
Excellent. Rob.
Oh man, so like if I can go back to what I was saying before, I'm just hoping that we are all still feeling that sense of empowerment and accomplishment by having people enjoying our music when we're playing it live. Hopefully more frequently playing it live as well as we're getting out there. And that could be current tunes, that could be new tunes. I just love that feeling. That's me. That would tick all my boxes in 12 months' time. I don't need a yacht.
I watch artists.
I mean, if you've got one, I'll take it.
I watch artists self-actualize on stage. So that's what you're transmitting to me. Laurence, 12 months' time, what are you going to do? What are you going to be?
Oh, well, I'm kind of just hoping that we have enough music to release another album.
I want to hear that too.
Who knows? I want us to keep growing, and I want us to just keep playing. Like Rob said, you know, like I just love performing to people. I just want to share more music if we can, and I want to reach more people. I think maybe that yacht would come in helpful for writing songs, comfortable environment, and traveling.
Okay, folks. Look, thanks so much for the next 12 months. You got to find a yacht, and the yacht is coming to you soon, because you can see these guys live in July. 4 gigs in Palmerston North, and then in Tauranga. Well, Palmerston North, Lisa from music.net can come and see you because the gigs are coming to you, Lisa. And then finishing with the gig at the Tuning Fork on July the 23rd. I'll be there. And you got Looking for Alaska. That's going to be such a fabulous night. Thanks, guys. All the best for the tour, and lovely to talk to you. I'm going to wrap it up from now. Cheers. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.